The annual dinner of the Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation being held this evening in the grand ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel here in New York City.
Your Eminence, Cardinal Spellman, this gathering has for its purpose a salutation to the memory of Al Smith.
None in our generation more warmly sympathize with the needs, the hopes, the aspirations of humanity than did Governor Smith.
I'm glad to be here at this notable dinner once again, and I'm glad that Mr. Nixon is here also.
And finally, around 4 a.m. this morning, the ghost of Al Smith appeared at my bedside. And he said, "Mr. President, I have seen the guest list for that dinner too. I can't sleep either."
And as we marvel at how far we've come, let us also remember how far we've yet to go.
I must say, I have traveled the banquet circuit for many years. I've never quite understood the logistics of dinners like this and how the absence of one individual could cause three of us to not have seats.
And America's best days are truly yet to come.
I know some people are going to keep accusing me of exaggeration, so let me be clear. Those people seek nothing less than the complete destruction of the American way of life.
I'm pleased to be here with the Vice President this evening. He's been promising to work harder on getting some of the details right, and I hope he follows through. The other night after our third debate, just as I was leaving, he said, "I look forward to seeing you for the dinner in New York. I'll meet you at the Carlisle and dress as casual."
Now, Al, you are right. A campaign can require a lot of wardrobe changes. Blue jeans in the morning, perhaps, suit for a lunch fundraiser, sport coat for dinner, but it's nice to finally relax and to wear what Ann and I wear around the house.
In less than 3 weeks, voters in states like Ohio, Virginia, and Florida will decide this incredibly important election, which begs the question, what are we doing here?
In the end, what makes this dinner important are not the jokes we tell, but the legacy that we carry forward. It is often easy to forget how far this country has come.
One thing we can all agree on is the need to support the great work that comes out of the dinner. Millions of dollars have been raised to support disadvantaged children, and I applaud the many people who have worked to make this wonderful event a critical lifeline for children in need.
With that, another shot at the Tuesday night debate, but this time with the power of divine intervention. The Cardinal has been granted the power to mute the speakers when necessary. So with that, we are going to begin with Vice President Joseph Biden. If elected, Vice President Biden would certainly make Al Smith proud, becoming our nation's second Catholic president. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vice President Joseph Biden.
Thank you, Mary, for that introduction. Your Eminence, Cardinal Dolan, and everyone at the site of the Al Smith Memorial Foundation, thank you all for having me and for supporting the charities that care for New York's children and families in need in the name of a good man who believed that faith without works is dead. For we know Alfred E. Smith by what he did. I know there's disappointment that the dinner tonight couldn't continue as normal, for us to sit together and put politics aside for a night, because these are difficult times for our country. A pandemic, a recession, a reckoning on race, a changing climate. With each crisis, our faith is tested. Faith in our institutions, in one another, in truth, in science and reason. We have to guard ourselves from rationalizing that this is normal and from numbing us to the pain and suffering of so many fellow Americans. You know, too many people woke up this morning, went to the kitchen table, and there was an empty chair where just days ago or weeks ago or a month ago, a loved one sat, talking, laughing, sharing their dreams. And now they're gone, lost to a relentless and unforgiving virus. I know for me, my Catholic faith has helped me through the darkness as I've had to bury pieces of my soul deep in the earth and eventually found purpose to live a life worthy of those I lost. And throughout my life in public service, I've been guided by the tenets of Catholic social doctrine that cuts across all confessional faiths. What you do to the least among us, you do unto me. We have an obligation to one another. We cannot serve ourselves at the expense of others. We have a responsibility to future generations. And that's the charge before us today. I know it's hard to see it right now. Our problems are so systemic. The losses are so catastrophic. At times it feels easier to say, we're done, it's over, what's the point? But the American people don't give up. There is no quit in America. Mark my words, one day we'll look back in awe, not at how far we fell, but how fiercely we fought back as a country. And that sense of hope and possibility reminds me of the first time I met Pope Francis in 2013, when I had the privilege of attending his inauguration at the Vatican. When I greeted him, he said, "Mr. Vice President, you're always welcome here." He was really sending a message to the world to put out a welcome sign on the front door of our church. 2 years later, President Obama and I welcomed him at the White House. At that same moment, we shared a sense of hope and possibility together. And for me, it came at a very personal moment, a very tough time in the life of my family. Our son, Beau, had just died a few months earlier. But Pope Francis took the time to meet with my entire family to help us see the light through the darkness. I live in an amazing country. We all live in an amazing country, where an Irish Catholic kid like me from Scranton, Pennsylvania, would one day befriend a Jesuit pope. But that's who we are as a country, where anything is possible when we care for one another, when we look out for one another, when we keep the faith. May God bless you all, and may God bless America, and may God protect our troops.
The president might not publicly discuss his faith very often, but I have heard it said that he alone has gotten more liberals to pray to God than any other president or cardinal in recent history. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
It is a profound honor to address the 75th annual Al Smith Dinner. For generations, this wonderful event has been a revered institution in New York and New York life. I fondly remember attending with my father a long time ago. I was a young man, but never forgot it. This organization's incredible tradition of Catholic charity exemplifies the very best, not only of this city, but of this country. I want to thank Cardinal Dolan, a very special man, for his extraordinary stewardship of the Archdiocese and for his deep dedication to God and to our nation. I also want to thank him for all of the help he's given me and so many things and so many different ways. Thank you very much, Cardinal. We very much appreciate it. Let me also thank Mary Erdos and the entire Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation. As you know, tonight's Al Smith Dinner is unlike any other, sadly. Our country and the entire world have been struck with a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic. China shouldn't have let it happen, but it did. When the virus came in from China, we saw New Yorkers respond with a same grit and tenacity, courage, and selflessness that have always defined this city that we love so much. Doctors and nurses worked around the clock. The heroes of the New York PD, NYPD, we love them, and they endorsed me, so I like them even more, but they are great. New York's finest. And the FDNY, the bravest. They are the bravest. They're great. I know them all very well. And other first responders risk their lives to save others. And of course, the Catholic community and the men and women of the New York Archdiocese answered the call and, frankly, answered it like nobody else could. In Catholic schools, hospitals, shelters, soup kitchens, and food pantries, you served with the supreme devotion to your fellow citizens. The Alfred E. Smith Memorial Foundation made a historic $8 million gift to support the children and the families of New York. Thank you. You showed the world the essence of the Catholic faith. I've known about it for a long time. I lived right next to a magnificent Catholic church. As Jesus Christ said in the gospel, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. As president, I want to thank the Catholic community for the magnificent generosity you showed in America's hour of need. We mourn for all of those who lost a loved one, and in their memory, we will defeat the virus. Through advances in treatment, we have reduced the fatality rate by 85% since just April. We are on track to develop and distribute a vaccine before the end of the year, and maybe substantially before. And I just want to say that the end of the pandemic is in sight, and next year will be one of the greatest years in the history of our country. From the very beginning of our republic, Catholics have uplifted and enriched our nation beyond measure. Catholics like Charles Carroll helped secure American independence. Women like St. Elizabeth Ann Seton founded a movement that created thousands of schools and lifted children out of poverty. And the great Al Smith, the original happy warrior, that's what he was. He was a happy warrior. I know it well. I consider myself to be a happy warrior, but it's not so easy in these times. But he was a happy warrior of American politics. He spent his life fighting for hardworking Americans and battling the anti-Catholic prejudice that you see even today coming out of the Democrat Party. Today, this amazing group continues that proud tradition of faithful service. Your work reminds us of an essential truth. In this country, civil society, and especially our religious institutions, are an essential foundation of American freedom. Our nation is strong because of Catholics and, frankly, people of all faiths. That is why, as president, one of my top priorities is to defend religious liberty and the cherished role of faith and faith-based organizations in our national life. To protect your God-given rights, I was recently honored to nominate one of our most brilliant legal minds, Judge Amy Coney Barrett, to the United States Supreme Court, and that was an honor indeed. She is a proud graduate of the University of Notre Dame Law School, where her professor, one of the most respected anywhere in the country, said she was the single greatest student he has ever had in his class. We will not stand for any attacks against Judge Barrett's faith. Anti-Catholic bigotry has absolutely no place in the United States of America. It predominates in the Democrat Party, and we must do something immediately about it, like a Republican win, and let's make it a really big one. To support the noble mission of Catholic schools, my administration is working to advance school choice. It was my great honor to help the Catholic Church with its schools. They needed hundreds of millions of dollars nationwide, and I got it for them. Nobody else. I got it for them. I hope you remember that on November 3rd, but I got it for them. And it was an honor to do it. I did it at the request of Cardinal Dolan and others of your leaders. They really needed it. We took care of that situation. Very important. We are once again standing with Catholic charities and healthcare providers such as the Little Sisters of the Poor. We've been with them all the way in this long fight. We are fighting for Catholic adoption agencies and fighting hard, and we are defending the sacred right to life. Remember that when you vote. That's so important, and so important to the Supreme Court. Every child, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God. Few institutions in history have done more for New York, more for America, or more for people of the world than the Catholic Church. From the parishes of this city came the soldiers who fought to end slavery, the workers who raised up the towering skyline of Manhattan, the chaplains who landed on the beaches of Guadalcanal, the nuns who marched for civil rights, and the police officers and firefighters who we love so much, who ran into the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. Now more than ever, our nation needs a renewal of the values this organization promotes, and that the Catholic faithful live out each and every day in peace We love the Catholic people. We love the Catholic religion. And above all, we respect it greatly. As president, I will always support you in your effort to serve our fellow citizens and to lift up all humanity. I will protect the Catholic Church, and I will defend the rights of religious believers of every race, religion, color, and creed. Thank you once again to the Al Smith Memorial Foundation. God bless you, God bless New York, and God bless America.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was extraordinarily gracious. Mary, am I mistaken, or did we just see a rather peaceful transition?
Reverend Mesa, Reverend Rock, I'm grateful for your generous invitation to state my views. While the so-called religious issue is necessarily and properly the chief topic here tonight, I want to emphasize from the outset that I believe that we have far more critical issues in the 1960 campaign. The spread of communist influence until it now festers only 90 miles from the coast of Florida, the humiliating treatment of our president and vice president by those who no longer respect our power, the hungry children I saw in West Virginia, the old people who cannot pay their doctor's bills, the families forced to give up their farms, an America with too many slums, with too few schools, and too late to the moon and outer space. These are the real issues which should decide this campaign, and they are not religious issues. For war and hunger and ignorance and despair, no religious barrier. But because I am a Catholic, and no Catholic has ever been elected president, the real issues in this campaign have been obscured, perhaps deliberately, in some quarters less responsible than this. So it is apparently necessary for me to state once again, not what kind of church I believe in, for that should be important only to me, but what kind of America I believe in. I believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute, where no Catholic prelate would tell the president, should he be Catholic, how to act, and no Protestant minister would tell his parishioners for whom to vote, where no church or church school is granted any public funds or political preference, and where no man is denied public office merely because his religion differs from the president who might appoint him or the people who might elect him. I believe in an America that is officially neither Catholic, Protestant, nor Jewish, where no public official either requests or accepts instructions on public policy from the Pope, the National Council of Churches, or any other ecclesiastical source, where no religious body seeks to impose its will, directly or indirectly, upon the general populace or the public acts of its officials, and where religious liberty is so indivisible that an act against one church is treated as an act against all. For while this year it may be a Catholic against whom the finger of suspicion is pointed, in other years it has been, and may someday be again, a Jew, or a Quaker, or a Unitarian, or a Baptist. It was Virginia's harassment of Baptist preachers, for example, that led to Jefferson's Statute of Religious Freedom. Today I may be the victim, but tomorrow it may be you, until the whole fabric of our harmonious society is ripped apart at a time of great national peril. Finally, I believe in an America where religious intolerance will someday end, where all men and all churches are treated as equals, where every man has the same right to attend or not to attend the church of his choice, where there is no Catholic vote, no anti-Catholic vote, no block voting of any kind, and where Catholics, Protestants, and Jews, at both the lay and the pastoral levels, will refrain from those attitudes of disdain and division which have so often marred their works in the past, and promote instead the American ideal of brotherhood. That is the kind of America in which I believe, and it represents the kind of presidency in which I believe. A great office that must be neither humbled by making it the instrument of any religious group, nor tarnished by arbitrarily withholding its occupancy from the members of any one religious group. I believe in a president whose views on religion are his own private affair, neither imposed upon him by the nation, nor imposed by the nation upon him as a condition to holding that office.